Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm doing a transmission fluid change on my 2011 Toyota Corolla. I'm going to drop the pan and replace the filter and put a new gasket on the filter pan as well. I've got my Toyota ft-lbs, and then I've got the car up on these ramps here. I got the wheels blocked off in the back so it won't roll over on me. Got my parking brake on. They say to do this hot, like run the engine so that any kind of like of those little metal parts are in the fluid, suspended in the fluid, any debris, and then that'll drain out. So I just got back from a drive. I actually already went underneath my car. Get the light for you guys. And I got a bucket under there that we'll be able to measure, has the measurements on it, so I'll be able to measure how much comes out. The pan right now is like scorching hot. So what I did is I went around and I loosened all the bolts on the edges of the pan. I think there's about 18 of them. And that way I know they're at least loose and that they're not going to break. Because if they break, I'd probably just if one of those bolts broke, I'd probably just take it around the corner to the local shop, have them fix that. But luckily, none of those bolts are seized. So now with a 10 millimeter, I'll just drain out that fluid. I'll measure it, and then I'll drop the pan after that because I just don't want all that scalding hot fluid dripping out on me as I try and open it. So I'm going to put gloves on and go ahead and open that up. Before I open it up, let me show you guys what my transmission fluid looks like. So put you guys down here. Luckily, this isn't a sealed transmission, so it's fairly easy to drain and fill. Got the dipstick right here. Take the level on it. Go ahead and wipe some off. Dip it in there again. And it looks pinker on camera than it does in life. Basically, it's like a little bit pink and dirty. I last had this, I took it to a shop and they did a complete flush on this when it was at 67,000 miles. So now we're about 6 years later, we're at 108,000 miles. So it recommended service intervals every 6 years or every 60,000 miles. So we're right there. You see the level here. Looks like we're at the hot level there. But the fluid isn't terrible, so it's reasonable to do a drain. Probably because it's broken down a lot at this point. Some people would say do a whole. If fluid's looking that good, you can just do a whole pump it all out, put all new fluid in. But if it's looking that good, I'll take a look at it at the end. And if I see a lot of metal filings in my pan there, that may affect my decision as well. But I don't think I'll see any of that. So again, just doing preventative maintenance today. All right, guys, so there's the fluid coming out. Basically, just use a 10 millimeter Allen key. And then you're going to want to make sure you have a torque wrench that you can torque it up with as well. But looking really dirty down here, especially compared to the top. It's a much darker fluid. I didn't take the bolt all the way out because it's hot right now. I didn't want to get burnt. But I'm getting a pretty good stream just after breaking it loose. So we'll let this all drain out, and then we'll get the pan dropped, and we'll start replacing that filter. Let me know if you guys if you guys would have dropped the pan. Some people just leave the filter in there when they do a drain and fill. I figured I kind of wanted to see what the inside of the pan looked like and see if there's any major damage. So this car is 12 years old. It has 108,000 miles on it. So if there's a lot of metal or a big chunk of metal in there, I kind of just want to know about it so that I can start planning on getting a new car. Also, I figured I'd get some more fluid out this way by dropping the whole pan and cleaning it. But let me know what you guys would have done in the comments, and we'll go from there. Also, another tip while this is draining is there are like some of these little plastic holders that you're gonna have to take one of them out to get all the bolts loose, and I broke that one here when I was trying to get it out. And I do have a bunch of extras on hand, but if you're doing this job, make sure you're aware of that, because you might need to put one in there. I guess you can always, in a pinch, use a zip tie, but be aware there's a good chance you'll break this when taking it off. All right, guys, so I got the pan down. Looks like the seal or the gasket here is starting to get pretty crusty, so good thing we're replacing it. No big metal pieces or anything like that. A little bit of metal on the magnets there, which is to be expected. You do get a lot of extra fluid out by taking this down. Basically, when you take it down, make sure you lean it back so that it all spills into the bucket and not onto you. And you got the filter out already. Drain plug, there's all the screws there. I'll put the gasket comes with a new one of these. And then under here, kind of see what the underside looks like. I already got everything kind of set up to go back in. So I'm going to clean this with some brake clean, get everything installed. I'll probably just put you guys on a time lapse for that, and then we'll see how much we can fill up. In this bucket, it's measuring 3 quarts of some really dirty looking fluid. So we'll put it in 3 quarts to start with and see how it goes. All right, so here I got the pan all clean, got the magnets clean, I got the gasket started. It has these little places where you can put screws in to hold it on there. Here's the new filter. Looks just like the old filter, which is good. It already has a gasket on there, which I put a little bit of new transmission fluid on. And then it also comes with a new crush washer, which I used to install that drain bolt there. Here's the old gasket. Obviously, they look different. The ATP kit comes kind of with a note explaining that this has a new pan gasket utilizing new copper-colored sealing material, which is what they're saying there. I'm a little concerned about these little tabs that hang off. I don't know how that's going to affect it, because obviously they're going to stick out the sides. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. You can get the kit. I think O'Reilly sells the kit that has the same gasket that looks like that one. Otherwise, it seems like a reasonable transmission filter kit. I got it for 22 bucks on Amazon. I also bought this fluid on Amazon from Toyota Miami. Sells on Amazon, and it comes in. See if the box is around here. Here's the box. I got a 6-pack for, it was like 90 bucks. Is either a 4-pack for 60 bucks or like 63 bucks. And then Amazon sells it from their like warehouse for 80 bucks for a 6-pack. But I didn't really trust that. I wanted it directly from a Toyota dealer. I have way more than I needed because I drained out 3. I'm going to put 3 in. I figured it wouldn't hurt to have a little bit extra. And then since it's so dirty, I might consider just draining out a quart or 2 later on. You can't just flush it from the top because that drain, the dipstick goes directly into the pan. So if you poured it in from the top, trying to like flush out as much as you can with your extra bottles of fluid, it would just pour right out the bottom. But let me put you guys on a time lapse while I get all this put back together, and then we'll fill it up. All right, so we got the transmission pan on. Now it's time to fill it up. That gasket does kind of hang over the edges a little bit, so if yours does that too, don't be alarmed. I don't see any other way to get it on there. And again, the torque specs are 11 Newton meters for the filter bolts, and then 8 Newton meters for the pan bolts, and then the drain bolt is 40 Newton meters. But here's our first quart. We're going to put 3 quarts in since we got 3 quarts out. We're going to fill it in slowly, and then we'll check it, and then we'll see if we need to do anything else. Basically, you need a long funnel here like I'm using. And don't go too fast. You don't want it to spill out the sides. At the end of the day, you're not really putting that much fluid in anyway, so it's not going to take that long. I'll put this first quart in. I'll check underneath. See if anything's obviously leaking. I'll do that after the second and the third quart as well, and then I'll keep an eye on it for a few days. So there you go, already got 1 quart in. Let me check underneath. And nothing obviously coming out. And I'll save these bottles, put my old transmission fluid in it. Theoretically, if you did this and then your transmission started slipping, if you just save the old transmission fluid, and I cleaned that bucket really well before I put it in there. And if you put it in these bottles and save it and it starts slipping, you could just drain out 3 quarts again, put the old fluid in there if that was working better. Because it wasn't slipping before, right? But I don't think that'll happen. These Toyota transmissions are pretty good. And the fluid was pretty dirty when it came out, but I think it's kind of to be expected. It wasn't like dark black or anything. It was just a really dark red pink color. So theoretically, you could argue doing a flush. I think since it was so dirty, though, a flush would not be a good idea in this vehicle. And it's better just to do a drain and fill. I know Scotty Kilmer, he's a big YouTuber. He recommends never doing a complete flush. He just does a drain and fill every 30,000 miles. So yeah, we got 2 quarts in. I may just do a half quart here and then check it. Just to make sure I'm not on any kind of insane level down there. I really debated doing whether or not I should replace the filter, because this job's a lot easier if you just drain it through the drain plug and then fill it back up. Those 18 bolts are kind of a pain, but I think it was worth doing. I think it was worth putting a new gasket on, a new filter. There's only a little bit left in there, so there you go. I did all 3 quarts. I'm gonna let this sit for a minute, and I'll take it off of the ramps. Go through the gears, and then check the level, see how we're doing. All right, guys, it's the next day. I checked the level last night after I was done. It looked a little low, so I added in about another like 0.25 to a half quart. Let's check underneath. No leaks overnight. Let's take a look here at the fluid. Yeah, I'll put you guys down here for a second. So basically when you check the level, you want to check it while the car is running. If I can get you guys put down. Here's my dipstick. So you can see it actually looks pink now. There's still like a little darkness to it, but not nearly as dark as it was at the beginning. And there's the level there. You can see it. Basically, you want it to be in between this sat all overnight, so you want it to be in between the cold markers. It looks like it's maybe a tad below. Let me try it again. Maybe just a tad below. I might add a little bit more. Give me like the full 3.5, 3.7 there. I may check it when it's hot later to see how it's doing. But I have to check the level when it's running. I checked it earlier before I turned it on, and it was like all the way up here. So the level does drop considerably when you turn the car on. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how that job went. It wasn't too bad. Something you can definitely do at home. Probably was worthwhile to do the filter, but that does add a lot of time. So you could consider not doing the filter, and I think you'd still be okay. But thanks for watching, guys. If you got any comments, go ahead and put them below, and I'll catch you all next time.